was the two spies that came back that believed God and trusted him. Were they Hoshea and Caleb, or were they... Okay, it was them. I was thinking about them, and as we were going through our Bible study here, you know, one of our going through, and something that hit me was it says that Joshua and Caleb had complete fidelity towards God, and I thought about that, and it really hit me like, what does fidelity mean? So I had to look it up. It's not actually. It's a totally different word. It doesn't quite mean fidelity. What it was is follows behind, and I got to thinking about who follows behind. And it really hit me, like, it was actually like how like a donkey follows behind the next donkey. It was like the rear of. And so I was struck by how they were likened to like a camel train. You know, you got like 10 camels in a row and they each kind of follow each other. And I was like, they were doing that. They were following God's lead, Caleb and Joshua. But the other 10 spies, they turned off. They decided not to follow God's lead, and they decided to follow someone else's lead. And in fact, who did they follow? They followed fear. So here we have this very big contrast between Joshua and Caleb, who had complete fidelity. They trusted God, and God was happy with them, satisfied. And so they got to enter the promised land. But the other 10 spies and all the other Israelites of that generation, in fact, they received the discipline of God because they worshipped, or they chose to follow fear rather than God and trust him. And I was really struck by how, like in my own life, that it's so easy for me to do things out of fear and to live in fear instead of trust. And so I just wanted to share with you like something that really, one of my applications that week. I really laid down before God and just asked God that he would put in me trust, so that I can trust him and not follow fear and not be held back by fears, but really learn to trust him and see him work through my life. We'll see you in a bit.
Ben got a chance to share a little bit of what God has been doing in his heart, but another thing that we really want to do is encourage your faith. And so we've been hearing some pretty cool stories about what God is doing all over the world, and I just wanted to share one of them with you so that you can see that God is doing stuff, and it's so cool and exciting. Our school leader was just telling us about when he led a team into a country that you're not supposed to bring Bibles into. And so he told his team, okay, we could maybe bring a couple Bibles, but we don't want to bring too many because we don't want to get caught at the border and have to turn back. And so he says, okay, so everybody's got that straight? Good. But there was a pastor on this team who had connections to Bibles. And so he got a whole bunch of Bibles shipped in, brings them in, everybody loads up their suitcases with Bibles, okay? Now these are not just one or two, they are loaded up with Bibles. And what's our friend going to say? Like, you can't bring Bibles in? No, of course not. So he says, all right, guys, now here's the plan. We're going to get onto the train. He had been to this border crossing before into this country, and he knew there was about 10 or 20 podiums that they could go to. So he said, when we get there, everybody split up, because that way it won't look like we're on a team all together, and maybe one or two of us will just get caught with our Bibles because they'll search. But not everybody will. So that was the plan. So what they do is they went and they got off the train. Everybody struggled with their suitcases and everything, and because these are pretty heavy, they're filled with Bibles. Now the problem was is by the time they got all their suitcases off, because they were so heavy, everybody else had already gone through. They were the last ones left, and all the podiums started closing. Boom, 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 boom. So our team leader, he was like, oh my goodness, what are we gonna do? So turns out one podium's left, and all of them are the only ones left, except two other white people who are with them. And so he said, okay, now we're going to head through this podium here. So this is bad news. They're obviously going to search at least 2 or 3 of them and find all the Bibles. But they start praying, and they start going through this lineup, and no joke, they put their suitcase on for the first person to go through the X-ray scene. All of the electricity has shut down. Okay, they have a huge power failure. Never had happened at the border before that Yo had ever heard of, and here it was. So all the officials look at themselves, and because this was an Asian country and they didn't want to lose face, they had to just let them through. So they just said to them, okay, it's fine, you guys all go through. So their entire team went through without being searched, except for the other 2 people that weren't with them were the ones who got searched. Isn't that cool? So they got to bring all these Bibles in, and God totally intervened and allowed that to happen. So anyways, we just wanted to encourage you and say that God is working around the world and doing some really cool things, and we hope he's doing those same things in your midst as you are faithful to obey him. We love you guys. We miss you. Keep praying for us. Another girl just dropped out of our class, So it's a tough school, but we're pushing through and we can really feel your prayers, so thank you.
And we miss you.
Start whenever you want.
Start when you want.
Did anybody see that? Sorry.
You should laugh a little bit more, Van.
I should laugh a little bit more.
Yeah, you just look real serious.
Because here we are together. What's he doing
Don't
there?
tell. Okay. We'll do this once more.
Why? It was going fine.